Hello! Thanks for joining Amma, myself, Kylie, and Chi-Chi as we share with you the project that we've worked on this semester, Spring 2013, for Dr. Bonner's Organization and Administration course. This was a three-part paper as well as this is going to be a three-part presentation. The first component is going to explain to you all about Rutgers University. Now, I understand you may be familiar with this institution. However, we want to share with you some facts and figures, general observations we have from our experiences here at the institution, and really give you this overarching, essentially a generalization of the institution so that you can see what sort of structure of governance we're dealing with here. We do want, and of course it wouldn't make sense to describe this institution without even mentioning some theory. So we're using the models first essentially discussed in Birnbaum, later discussed in Tierney, but we're going to really hone in on two specific models of Birnbaum so that you, again, can understand the system of governance that we're working with here at Rutgers University, specifically at New Brunswick. So again, that's component one. For the second component of our presentation, we're going to be looking at a specific grant-funded program. We're speaking about the Lewis-Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. Henceforth, we're going to call it the LSAMP program. This program is something that is critical for our students here at Rutgers, especially our students of underrepresented populations. So, this grant-funded program itself is not the problem. The problem is the way in which the program is run, and that we have this grant renewal coming up very soon. So in order to get our $5 million plus for the next 5 years, there really needs to be some changes made by the leadership, by the students, by the student affairs professionals, faculty, administration, in the execution of this program, because there's so much room for opportunity. There's so much that this program can give, and we really feel like that describing in the second component about this program, we can go ahead and share with you the current state of the program. Then in the third component, because we do feel so passionately about it, of course we need to figure out some solutions. We're going to give you an analysis. We're going to explain some strategies, trade-offs, challenges, administrative concerns that we have with the program. And then again, based on theory, mainly we're looking at Tierney here and what he discusses in his book. Things that we feel are doable, are manageable, are realistic for the execution of the program within the next few years, specifically in the next year as they are going through a grant renewal. Now, we did try to do something a little different here. We did incorporate a case study. This case study is there not just for fun and games, but really to give you a personal connection to this program, to the institution, and to the students that are involved. There are over 900 plus students that we have receiving different program initiatives, getting involved in LSAMP in some way. They have this opportunity. So we wanted to go ahead and give a name and a face to the student so that you can see it really is something here happening at Rutgers. It is something we can have a call to action so that we as student affairs professionals, we as social workers, we as just general individuals who care about an institution, care about a grant-funded program, care about our students in the end, want to see them succeed in the fields of in the STEM field. It really is important for you to grasp that, and that's how essentially why we created the case study for you. So like I said, component one, today we're going to be discussing Rutgers, the institution, discussing Birnbaum and his models. Second component, we're going to be discussing the specific grant-funded program, LSAMP, here at Rutgers. And then for the third component, we're going to go ahead and give you some solutions. So let's go ahead and get this thing started.
This slide will give you an overview of the institutional context of Rutgers University. Rutgers University is the only college in the United States to be a colonial college, land-grant university, and public university. Rutgers was chartered as Queens College in 1766. It is the 8th oldest university in the United States. In 1864, Rutgers became the land-grant University of New Jersey and granted full university status in 1924. Rutgers University joined the Association of American Universities in 1989, becoming the only public school in New Jersey to belong. According to U.S. News and World Report, Rutgers University, New Brunswick is nationally ranked 68th and ranked 25th in top public schools. The New Brunswick campus is 2,681 acres with 658 buildings and counting. The campus is comprised of 5 smaller campuses: the College Avenue campus, the Cook campus, the Bush campus, the Douglas campus, and the Livingston campus. This unique makeup was formed during the restructuring of undergraduate education approved in 2006 to create the School of Arts and Sciences, which merged the 4 liberal arts schools of Douglas, Livingston, Rutgers, and university colleges. Within the past year, Rutgers University, New Brunswick has strengthened its role as a nationally ranked university. In July of 2012, the university welcomed its 20th president, Robert L. Barchi. President Barchi has initiated the first strategic plan for the university in over 15 years. In addition, in August of 2012, Governor Christie signed the New Jersey Medical and Health Sciences Education Restructuring Act. This will integrate the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey into Rutgers University effective July 1, 2013. In addition, a few days later, Rutgers University announced it would join the Big Ten Conference. In addition to this, the university will also join the Committee on Institutional Cooperation with all of the Big Ten institutions, a committee devoted to advancing academic missions of world-class research institutions. This is both an athletic and academic achievement for Rutgers University.
The Rutgers University mission statement is threefold. The first component of this statement talks about meeting the instructional needs of New Jersey residents, and one way Rutgers does that is by offering undergraduate, graduate, and continuing education to many of the residents here in the state. Rutgers offers a variety of degrees in many different majors here, and they offer it to mostly in-state students who enroll into Rutgers. The second part of the mission statement talks about conducting cutting-edge research here at the university. This research helps further many industries here in the state, as well as in the nation as a whole and around the world. Much of the research that is conducted at Rutgers are conducted by highly acclaimed faculty, and much of the research has been published in well-known journals and things of that nature. The research varies from medical to environmental to psychology to social work. Really anything you can think of, Rutgers has researched it, and we're very proud of that here at Rutgers. The last part of the mission statement is component 3, which talks about performing public service just to support the needs of New Jersey. That was very evident during Hurricane Sandy, where Rutgers really utilized a lot of the resources here to provide relief to victims of the storm. Just throughout the existence of Rutgers, it's always been known to kind of be a forerunner in public service, and it really encourages its students and its staff to kind of participate in that venture. So that's basically the 3 major components of our mission statement here at Rutgers University.
Hello, my name is Ama Agume, and I will take you through the next 3 slides. First, let's look at the demographics at Rutgers University. According to the IPEDS Fall Enrollment Report, which was released by the Office of Institutional Research and Academic Planning, Rutgers in 2011 had a projected total student enrollment of approximately 58,000 full-time and part-time students. And of the 58,000, approximately 44,000 are undergraduates, while 12,000 are graduates, and 2,000 are first professional enrolled students. The race ethnicity distribution based on the total number of students enrolled at Rutgers are as follows. 45.2% identify as white, 19.7% as Asian Pacific Islanders, 10.2% American Indian, 9.7% Hispanic, 7% Black Hispanic, 6.5% identify as non-resident aliens, and then 1.7% are unknown, as in they don't say what their ethnic backgrounds are. Granted. Rutgers University prides itself in offering broad spectrum educational opportunities to students in New Jersey and in the United States as a whole. The broad educational opportunities offered include preschool through to pre-college, through to undergraduate, graduate, and continuing education for professional and personal advancement. Rutgers University has 28 schools and colleges and more than 170 academic departments, which house over 100 bachelor's and master's level and 80 doctoral programs spread all over the Newark, New Brunswick, and Camden campuses. Under the Carnegie Foundation classification system, Rutgers is considered as a doctoral granting university. The governing body. The governing body at Rutgers comprises the Board of Governors, Board of Trustees, the President, faculty, staff, administrators, students, and alumni. When Rutgers University was founded in 1766, the Board of Trustees were entrusted with governing the institution until 1956, when it was reorganized and made the State University of New Jersey. The Board of Governors was created by the state law in 1956, and it was made the governing entity of Rutgers University, while the Board of Trustees was retained and made the main advisory body with the responsibility of being the body to whom certain powers are entrusted for the benefit of the institution. At the moment, the Board of Governors is made up of 11 members, who are also known as the 11 voting members, and they maintain full voting rights. The New Jersey State Senate confirms 6 of the 11 members of the Board of Governors. They are appointed by the governor of the state of New Jersey, who happens to be Governor Christie. The remaining 5 are elected by the Board of Trustees. They come from the same Board of Trustees I mentioned earlier, and as you see on the slide. There are 2 faculty members and 1 student who are elected by the University Senate together with the president, and these people serve on this board as non-voting members, meaning they have no voting rights. According to research, the 11 members are vested generally with the government and control, conduct, management, and administration of the university. And the president serves as an ex officio member. The Board of Trustees, on the other hand, comprises of 59 voting members. According to the New Jersey state law, there should be 28 charter members, at least 3 should be women, 20 alumni members who are nominated by the nominating committee of the Board of Trustees, and 5 public members who are appointed by the governor of the state with confirmation by the New Jersey State Senate. The 6 members of the Board of Governors appointed by the governor also serve as members of the Board of Trustees. And there are 3 charter seats out of the 28, and these are reserved for students who serve as voting members. In addition, the president serves as an ex officio member, together with 2 students and 2 faculty. So I will hand you over to Kali, who would take you through Birnbaum's models. Over to you, Kali.
Now that Am has given us all the facts and figures, the demographics, the governing bodies here at Rutgers University, we really want to get into the specifics about the theoretical models. So we're taking these ideas from Robert Birnbaum's book, How Colleges Work. He describes a few models here. I want to highlight just 2. You may be questioning why I'm going to highlight 2. You might say, well, Callie, shouldn't an institution be true to only one model and only have one model's characteristics? No, that's completely unrealistic. There's no organization or administration that is acting that can really only act based on the behaviors of one strict model. So we're going to see different behaviors, different practices that are pulled from these 2 different models that just scream Rutgers University. So the first is the bureaucratic model I'm going to discuss, and the second is the political model. So with the bureaucratic model, based upon the sheer size of Rutgers, 3 separate campuses in 3 separate cities, New Brunswick alone has 5 campuses, interacting subsystems, that we see a hierarchical structure developing. It's just how we get things done. It's a system of reporting from a superior to a subordinate. And that really is just evidence of this bureaucratic behavior. So, like I said, there is this relationship where there is someone who's in charge and there's someone beneath them. So this person in charge is giving direction, giving orders. The subordinate is then in a cyclical motion giving feedback to the superior. So we see that a dean is working with an associate dean, or, an assistant director is working with their student employees. And the student employee, in turn, after getting the direction from their supervisor, is giving feedback. Again, it is a cyclical motion. So this relationship of directives and reports, as described on page 115 in Birnbaum, figure 13, is created in a zone of indifference. So if the superior were to change the culture, were to give directives in a way that was not traditional to this group, it is going to create a discomfort. So the subordinate is only really congruent or accepting of the orders given if it is given in the zone of indifference. So it would be weird if you went out with your administrator here at Rutgers and you went to a more social setting, but they were still talking about work and still giving you directions for work. It wouldn't be really conducive. You wouldn't get things done. It's frowned upon generally. So that is the hierarchical and bureaucratic nature that we're seeing here at Rutgers, happening in academic and in student affairs departments throughout the institution. Next, we're really looking at the political model. Again, the sheer size of the institution really just shows that there's conflicting interests. So people's personal direction and goals may be conflicting with their office, with the institution as a whole. And when I say the institution, I mean Rutgers, the Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. It is going to create this power dynamic where people do have a struggle for resources and do really compete against one another.
The Lewis-Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation, LSAMP, is a national program developed to improve the graduation and retention rates of minority students in the sciences. In New Jersey, 9 universities participate in the program, including Rutgers, New Brunswick. The mission of LSAMP is to increase the number of underrepresented minority students who graduate with degrees in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, also known as STEM. Please take a moment to read over the full LSAMP mission. We have found this video on YouTube called What is LSAMP from Boise State University. This will give you an overview of some of LSAMP's initiatives and projects they work on with students. Although this is at Boise State, it still gives a good overview of what Rutgers students can expect and experience through LSAMP. Please right-click on the link to open the YouTube video.
Jessica Martinez is a first-year LSAMP scholar. She is excited about being part of the LSAMP program and looks forward to many of the opportunities it offers. She is the first in her family to attend college and receives tuition funding from the Economic Opportunity Fund. Jessica is studying biomedical engineering because she has always enjoyed math and science, especially biology. Jessica has a younger brother who suffers from leukemia, and her dream is to one day conduct research on ways to improve bone marrow donation procedures. She hopes to use her education to conduct research on the ways to decrease the discomfort and pain associated with bone marrow donations by utilizing less invasive techniques. Her goal is to use her research to ultimately improve the rate of bone marrow donations so that patients like her brother have better chances of remission. During her first year, Jessica is excited to learn that LSAMP offers research opportunities with biomedical engineering faculty. These faculty conduct bone marrow research. She is even more excited to learn that LSAMP also offers the funding for these types of research opportunities. Jessica is very excited about this and talks to her LSAMP peer mentor about applying. Her mentor encourages her to apply and also encourages her to keep her grades up so that she will be eligible for the research assistant position. Jessica works really hard during her first semester at Rutgers. She uses her LSAMP book stipend to buy many of her engineering books. She goes to LSAMP tutoring and meets regularly with her LSAMP peer mentor. She also attends many of the academic and professionalism workshops that LSAMP holds throughout the semester. She uses the information she learns from the workshops to update her resume and develop better study habits. Jessica ends the semester with a 4.0 and applies for the research assistant position. She is excited about the opportunity to gain much-needed research experience and anticipates hearing back from the research program. Unbeknownst to Jessica is the fact that LSAMP is currently in its last grant year and is up for grant renewal. That year, LSAMP submits a grant renewal proposal and anxiously awaits a response from the National Science Foundation. Unfortunately, LSAMP learns that it will not get the grant because it failed to adequately prove that the initiatives outlined in the initial grant were accomplished. This news devastates the staff team, but it also devastates students like Jessica who learn that they will not be able to receive many of the LSAMP opportunities that they are accustomed to. Jessica no longer has a mentor, and she can no longer go to LSAMP tutoring. She also will no longer receive book stipends. Sadly, Jessica cannot get the research assistant position she applied for because LSAMP can no longer offer funding for it. News of this crushes Jessica, and her dreams suddenly become impossible. LSAMP is an integral part of the academic success of many underrepresented STEM students at Rutgers. Students like Jessica need LSAMP to graduate and ultimately pursue their dreams. Without the necessary structural and administrative changes made to alleviate many of the challenges LSAMP faces, Jessica's stories could potentially become the reality for many LSAMP students. Without improved structural support for administrative staff and increased staff hire, LSAMP may have a difficult time accomplishing many of the academic initiatives initially set forth. This, in turn, jeopardizes its ability to continue receiving funding from the National Science Foundation.
We have found this video on YouTube that is a showcase of LSAMP STEM research from students like Jessica. This actually took place on the Cook Campus Center and involves all of the 9 universities that are included in LSAMP in the state of New Jersey. You can learn more about the projects and their experiences through LSAMP in this video. Please right-click on the video to view the video.
So I'm going to briefly discuss some of the challenges that LSAMP face and why, just kind of analyzing many of the problems that exist and the causes for those problems. So the first major cause for a lot of the challenges that LSAMP faces is the fact that when the initial grant was written, it was written primarily by faculty who didn't have much background in administration. So what ended up happening is that they created this program that had many different academic initiatives that would require a lot of administrative work, but because they weren't administrators, they didn't really review the grant to see if these initiatives were feasible, and that became a major problem because now the administrators who do work with the grant see that it's overwhelming, but that would have been avoided if they had input from the very beginning as far as what was feasible and what was not feasible in the grant. The second challenge that LSAMP faces is the fact that many initiatives weren't really outlined with proper staffing. So what ended up happening was that when the grant was written, only one full-time staff member was included in the budget. And with a program of this magnitude that has all these different academic initiatives, it would have made sense to include more staff because in order to implement these initiatives, a good number of staff is needed so that it can work well, so that this program can function and work well. But that didn't happen. Only one person was, included in the budget, and then eventually that person had to petition for another full-time staff member because they just felt too overwhelmed and needed a second person. So now LSAMP has 2 full-time staff, but still that isn't adequate enough to really make the program work. Okay, so third, as a result of the lack of staffing, what ends up happening is that these 2 staff members have an overwhelming amount of work placed on their shoulders. They essentially run, I want to say, an academic support service department here at Rutgers. LSAMP offers tutoring, mentorship, programming, externships, research opportunities for almost 1,000 students, and running all of those different initiatives, keeping track of all of those different things, doing the budgeting, the day-to-day tasks that are associated with those different initiatives for that number of students is a lot of work for 2 people to do. So it makes it really difficult for those 2 staff to do their job effectively. And then ultimately, because there are only 2 staff members doing all this work, it affects the quality of the programming that we do provide our students. Because these 2 staff can't fully commit to 1 or 2 initiatives and instead have to commit to many initiatives, what ends up happening is that they spread themselves too thin, students fall through the cracks, and the programming suffers. So students aren't given the opportunity to really benefit from the best programming possible. Rather, they have to kind of utilize what the 2 staff members can offer. What ends up happening essentially is the fact that because there's only 2 staff people working on these programs, there's only so much that they can focus on, and there's only so much that they can work on. So the students kind of have to utilize whatever those 2 staff people can feasibly work on. So those are basically many of the problems and why those problems exist in LSAMP, and kind of the causes of those problems and what that means for the program right now.
Like I said earlier, with the program LSAMP, it isn't the program itself, it isn't the concept of assisting underrepresented students so that they may be successful by getting a degree and furthering their education and getting the utmost important resources in the STEM field. That's not the problem at all. Of course, our institution needs that. Our students need that. It'd be silly for this program not to be at this campus. I can't even imagine not having these resources here for these students, this financial funding, and as a result, all of the initiatives. But the problem here really is that we aren't seeing a solid execution, a flawless, a systematic plug and chug, if you will, method of execution. So we propose there are a few strategies, a few things that are pretty simple that you can just go ahead and do so that the organization with this subsystem can function well. We have a budget. They're misusing their funds currently. I know it was mentioned that they perhaps have at least 1,000 USB drives that sit and do nothing. The students don't really use them because we now have this cloud. They are sitting collecting dust, and they were $5, $10 a piece, part of that budget. So it's a misuse of the budget. They're always purchasing food, which may or may not motivate our students. We really need to do this budget audit, because if where we're strapped is the fact that there aren't enough staff, but their money is being used for things that are not assisting the program in being successful, then there needs to be a redistribution of funds. An audit is just going to go ahead and reveal that room for opportunity so that we can see the program be successful. Tyranny mentions that in the book, through assessment, you're going to get operational success. People are going to see what needs to be done as a result of the assessment. I also like to say that a budget is it reveals the values of the organization. So if they're putting a whole bunch of funding into all of these resources that are being used, then it's showing that they're not caring about their different programs. So essentially, if they're investing in staff, if they're investing in training, if they're investing in things that are worth their money and their time, it's going to better reflect the purpose of the grant-funded program itself. So again, more strategies, hiring more staff, because they are not going to be able to track all these students. They're not going to be able to get the grant-funded program again without evidence of students getting doctorate degrees, students research that they're producing after they've gotten their degree. Essentially, their successes within the STEM field. They're not going to be able to track all that information with 1 or 2 professional staff members. Now, they would need to kind of figure out, okay, do we hire maybe 2 grad students and an undergraduate student to help us run this program, or do we hire 1 full-time professional staff member? You do kind of need to weigh the odds against specialization, and then also division of do you want more people, or do you want someone who's more has more institutional capital so that they're qualified for the position? So they just need to weigh the odds. Do I think that our group could really decide that for them? No. I think that's something that the administrators, the faculty, and the students involved with the LSAMP program should sit down and have a discussion and figure out for themselves what they're going to do with staffing and how they're going to divide the job responsibilities so that there's some more accountability here. Also, there's over-programming. So the LSAMP program is doing tutoring and paying tutors when Rutgers University itself offers tutors that are just as good, just as helpful for the students, and they're free. So it's perhaps, again, a misuse of funds. That would come up in the audit budget. They perhaps could be using their money on other projects, freeing up. So essentially collaborating with other offices. The biggest thing I think that's really important, because we're always talking about wanting to develop the students. So if the LSAMP program is here to support students academically, they're going to give them money for research, they're going to give them a book stipend, they're going to reward them for their successes and their follow-through in the initiatives with the STEM field. We want the students to feel invested in the program. We need them to understand why this program is important, not just for themselves, but for the greater global community, for underrepresented populations, for the STEM field itself, for, our nation, the globe. Essentially, we really want these students to believe in the program and to feel comfortable helping to track, helping to explain to the renewal committee why this was such a good impact and why we need it again for the future. So those are just a few of the strategies.
LSAMP will encounter challenges as they implement the strategic amendments we have outlined. The LSAMP program will be eligible for grant renewal as of next year, which determines the future of the LSAMP program for the next 5 years at Rutgers University. They will need to illustrate that the goals and initiatives outlined in the original grant were accomplished. Therefore, the grant writers must demonstrate within the proposal that LSAMP has achieved what it was established for since its inception at Rutgers. It may take a year or more to do this because it takes time to conduct an audit, hire additional staff, and prioritize projects for the purposes of improving the grant renewal process. In addition, tracking student success is nearly impossible. The items important to track for over 900 students include student engagement and the resources provided and the degree to which the students impact the field. Detailed tracking and the resources needed for mathematical evidence is beyond the program's means at this time. Unfortunately, LSAMP does not employ enough staff to divide and conquer in order to complete these tasks in a timely manner. Therefore, the pressure is on a few individuals to carry out these daunting tasks before eligibility of the grant renewal next year. Increased stress amongst the members of the organization could either fuel determination or discourage them. Another challenge is the lack of communication and coordination between LSAMP staff and the faculty who wrote the initial grant. Administrative staff have worked on implementing many of the academic initiatives that were created in the initial grant proposal. They have a great understanding of the successes and failures of the program. However, the faculty who wrote the grant do not have the administrative responsibilities that come with running the program. Therefore, the faculty's proposal and the administrator's presentation are inconsistent. Therefore, collaboration with both faculty and LSAMP administrative staff is key in order to ensure that the grant renewal proposal honestly reflects and highlights what LSAMP has accomplished and what it hopes to continue to achieve. In addition, the students whom LSAMP aims to serve may become another challenge with this plan of action. Recruiting passionate student advocates may not be as simple as thought. Students involved in LSAMP have busy schedules that involve classes, tutoring, mentoring, and conducting research, socialization, and participating in other campus initiatives. Some students may not understand the entirety of what LSAMP means to their education, and therefore will not pursue becoming student advocates. Educating students early on what LSAMP truly means for not just the individual but minority populations and the STEM fields as a whole can alleviate the lack of engagement through awareness. The strategies we have outlined will require the use of financial resources, which may decrease financial resources for LSAMP students. Trade-off may be useful in the following situations. First, it may be appropriate to hire one or more graduate assistants pursuing an education-related field for the LSAMP program. This may be financially beneficial to the program than hiring another full-time staff member. Second, it may be useful to prioritize projects depending on cost. For example, instead of hiring and paying tutors, LSAMP can utilize offices with similar missions like the Rutgers Learning Centers, who provide tutoring services. Collaboration with other campus departments is a rational trade-off in moving LSAMP in a positive direction. As previously mentioned, one of the most important issues involves the lack of collaboration between faculty and administrative staff. Faculty wrote the original LSAMP grant without input from administrative staff. They are unaware of the structural issues surrounding the academic initiatives outlined. Faculty and staff must collaborate in these strategies. This includes cooperatively working on administrative issues such as tracking use of resources, programming, and collaboration with other university departments. This is one thing our group would like to stress that is extremely important in the implementation of these strategies.